Hey, Brittany.
Hi, Cassie.
Hey, Snarkers. Welcome back to the Snarking Lab. Brittany, what's going on today? Are you jazzed?
I'm jazzed, like a jazz band.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, see, we were in band together. Look at you throwing back so early in the episode. Awesome. Yeah. Woo! All right. Well, Snarkers, we are super, super, super stoked to be welcoming an amazing guest today. Michelle and I know each other from long ago, ever so loosely. We've stayed friends on Facebook and just kind of know what's going on in each other's lives virtually over time. But we're really excited to have Michelle with us to talk through, I think, what we're probably calling Love on the Run, a journey through grief, hope, and love. And the run is a key part of that title. So we will get into that in a little bit. But as everyone here knows, we start off every episode with a mental health check on how everyone's doing because we're passionate mental health advocates on this pod. So, Brittany, you want to start us off? How are you doing this week?
Okay. Um, People at work are trying this bitch. So I'm like,
You.
yesterday was questionable. Today was a little bit better. So
Okay.
we're okay. We're all right. How
Hanging
about
in.
you?
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, well, I bought a crocheted miniature dumpster fire off of Amazon. So like literally like a little dumpster with flames that's
All the rage on
crocheted.
TikTok.
Yeah,
All
super
the
cute.
rage. Every other TikTok is an ad for one of those. And I'm like, what if you had an army of them? What's that called? Like a flock? Flock of dumpster
Flock of
fires?
dumpster fires. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean mentally that's where I'm at perhaps, like a little crocheted dumpster fire, but doing okay. I got good sleep. I drank more water today. I just overall better energy, so work went better. Um,
It's
you
you
know,
being a
hanging
houseplant.
in.
More
I
water, more
know.
sleep.
Look at me
Yeah.
being a good elder millennial trying to drink
Yeah.
water. So, Michelle, another elder millennial with us. So, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I spent too much time on TikTok today after work talking about how elder millennials are not even phased by the UFOs or UAPs or whatever they're calling them now. So I'm like, yeah, that chucks. I'm not phased by what the aliens, they can come get me. That's fine. So, just
That's
kind of waiting for my alien encounter to happen.
awesome. Have you been privy to Kate McKinnon's SNL skit with her alien encounters? Have you ever seen this?
No, I don't think so.
Brittany, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
All right, I have assignments for both of you. After this, you go watch Alien Encounters, Kate McKinnon, SNL, and then get back to me about how much you laughed.
Doesn't
Okay.
Ryan Gosling do one?
Yeah, and that's
Okay,
why
that's
it's
fine.
absolutely just the two of them. Yeah, you can't really go wrong. So Michelle equals unfazed. I like it. I am down
Hmm.
with that. I am down with that. Well, she just did something that was amazing that left her completely unfazed, or maybe phased, but she put on a good face. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, we're delighted to have Michelle here, who I'm calling a spunky elder millennial, who is doing some amazing things um, in terms of honoring her late mother and putting in some serious miles, pun intended, for a cause. It's been my personal desire for a while to try to get an amazing guest on the podcast to talk through like this dichotomy of grief and love and living out someone's memory and things like that. And then Michelle, after you ran your marathon, was like, Michelle's it. So we're really, really stoked. But let's get a little let's how do we know each other, Michelle? Like let's just get that like right off the table. Like how many years ago did we encounter each other? How and
Okay, now
why?
you're gonna make me say how old I am. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we
am.
were just in high school like 3 or 4 years ago, so it's only
True.
been
True. So
like
true.
probably 3 or 4 years.
Likely
No.
just got out of high school.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, that was like 15 years ago. I don't even know
uh,
how old I am. I had to text my husband today to ask him how old I was because I
when
met a
did you
girl at work and
start?
she was 31 and I was like, I'm 31. And then I texted my husband, I'm like, wait, am I 37 or am I 38?
Yeah, see?
I'm
I
38, so
know. You're 38.
20
Yeah, I'm
years
37.
ago.
I know.
Yeah, so
20
it'd have been
years
20
ago.
years ago.
We started like we met each other when we worked together at a local Pizza Hut in our home area. As I've shared with Michelle, and she thinks like I'm just trying to like boost her ego, but like I literally wanted to bust into this like friends group of her like two besties in the whole world that also worked at Pizza Hut. And I was like, those are the cool kids. Total like high school, like I want to be like them. I want them to think I'm cool. Please like me. That was you three.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
you know,
And that's so sweet, Cassie, because we liked you immediately. And that was like, I never thought of myself as a cool kid. I always thought like, I'm just out here like the rest of us girls, just fighting for my life,
fighting for your
just
life.
trying to survive. Yeah. So that's so sweet.
Aw.
But
Am I
I do think
imagining
Pizza Hut.
you correctly? Did you do cut table? Did I imagine you doing like amazing things with the, yeah, this girl's like
I
taking
did.
pizzas off the oven and like slicing them to perfection. And I'm like, I'm just back here answering phones and telling delivery drivers where to go. You know, that
Which
was my role.
I had such anxiety, I couldn't answer the phones. If it was me and like one other person in at Pizza Hut, I would refuse to answer the phone. And they're like, Michelle, you have to learn how to answer the phone. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So you're the real hero, Cassie, because I could not, for the life of me, manage the courage to answer the phone.
Okay, this is gonna date me big time, right? Like this is how old we are. Kathy, who I'm sure you're knowing who I'm talking about, trained
Mhm.
me, and she was training me how to total up bills on pieces of paper. So it was
Yes.
like we were there during the paper to computer receipt conversion,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
learned how to tally up, like adding up people's like $3.99 breadsticks and $14.99 large pan, like by hand.
I
From
like that you
Kathy.
still remember the prices. This
Gonna
is
say that's
impressive.
impressive.
God. I know. And then our free pizza that we get for working, right?
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
$3.99 value personal pizza that we got for being good stewards of Pizza Hut.
Or sometimes you could get Cinesticks, which I would normally go with.
Sticks, cheese sticks. Oh man. That Pizza Hut knew what it was doing, girl. I'm telling you. Telling you. All right. Well, not kidding about the cool kids group. So shout out to your besties who I hope are gonna listen to this. Hey
Oh, they
gals.
will.
Yeah. Brittany did many an excursion to Pizza Hut with me when we were paying customers. So she knows how amazing it was, like back in the 2 decades ago
Wait, so
era.
why didn't you work there, Brittany? What were you doing?
Yeah, what were you doing? Why weren't you
Oh,
working there with us?
I don't know. Not working there. I should have been because that would have been amazing.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It looked amazing.
It was a really good time. Really good time.
it was the best place to work in Monroe.
Yeah, not in the
Probably
area.
in the county,
Yeah.
honestly.
Most likely in
Yeah.
the state of
Yeah.
Wisconsin when you
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
think about it, you know.
Yeah.
All right. That's amazing. So that's how we know each other. It's all Pizza Hut, all the time. It was great. So Michelle, we've alluded to you're on this podcast, because of your story that you've experienced like with a journey since losing your mom, and then what you've been doing recently to like honor her memory, raise money for a cause, all these amazing things. So if you don't mind, can you just tell us a little bit about your story, like growing up, your relationship with your mom, and just kind of how things transpired from, like leading up to losing her, and like where you've progressed since then. Just a little like Michelle biography, let's say.
Okay, sounds good. So, um, growing up, my mom was an employee at GM, which was a factory in Janesville, Wisconsin. So 5 days a week, she would drive 1 hour to work and 1 hour home, and she worked third shift. So I normally didn't only get to see her on the weekends, which was like kind of crazy, right? Because you'd hear about all your friends going home, their mom would cook dinner for them, they would do homework with their mom. So I only really got my mom on the weekends. But her work ethic was so hard because she grew up super poor. She had six brothers and sisters. They all like shared two beds. They were always hungry. So she had a really, really strong work ethic, which I really admired, as a
Yeah.
kid. And she always wanted better for me. Um, so then, you're a teenager, you kind of like think you're cooler than your parents, like you kind of get in that kind of, I don't know, not rebellious stage, but like
Yeah.
I'm smarter than you stage. And then when I got to college, I remember one of the phone calls I had with my mom was she told me, I'm so happy we can be friends now. Like we finally
Oh,
have that like adult bond moment where she's like, you're not this like snarky teenager and you're not embarrassed by me all the time. Like I feel like we're really forming a bond and a friendship. And literally 2 or 3 weeks after that, she found out she had cancer.
really?
So yeah, so she found out in February she had cancer. And then she went for a screening, and at that point, it was already all over her body. So it was in her lymph nodes, her brain, her liver, her lungs. And I think that was it. But they couldn't diagnose like where it was coming from, so they didn't really know how to treat her.
Oh, okay.
So they started her with chemo and radiation, just like kind of best guess of like how they could treat her. And then she ended up passing in August, a month before my 21st birthday. So I was only 20 years old.
Fine.
And so the
That's
time between when she got diagnosed and passed was 6 months.
really, that is very brief. I knew you were young and I thought you were
Hmm.
probably past high school just based on what you had shared, but I wasn't sure like the quickness of the actual progression either. That's super tough. That's so
Yeah.
tough.
And it was about 2 weeks before I was supposed to return to college for my junior year. So I told my dad, I will stay home with you. Like, we can figure out this next year. I'll be here for you. And he's like, what are you going to do here? Like, you have to go to school. There's nothing for you in this town. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I need to make sure like you're okay, because I think that's a really big thing people don't talk about when you lose your parent is it's like, how does it affect me, but how does it affect that other parent? And I think as somebody who was like not a kid, but not an adult, looking at my dad as someone who's like, you just lost the love of your life. You're married for like 30 years. How do I help you? I felt like became my main goal.
Yeah, that's striking because and Brittany knows this. I'm big on like not saying like, oh, I had that same experience, right? Like that practicing of empathy of recognizing that everyone's experience is so unique. However, as you talk, it resonates with me as someone who lost their mother. Like I was 30 when my mom passed away. But prior to her
That's
passing
so young.
away, I mean, it's a weird, and this is leads to one of the questions that we do want to talk to you about, but it's so weird to be navigating like your what I still argue. I think 30 is young. I'm just gonna say it, your young adult life,
It's
like
very young.
without this motherly presence in your life. You have like other mother figures, maybe, like if you're fortunate to have good, female relationships, but it's never the same as your mom. And then like you say, observing your other parent go through that, right? And wanting to be that support while you're also carrying this heaviness. Like I relate to just that in my chest, right? Like that's the real, that's the core of it, I feel. So how
What was
did
that
you,
like for you, Cassie? I'm just interested.
oh yeah, I mean, and Brittany, because we're besties, Brittany knew my mom for as long, like from in some capacity since Brittany was 9, right? And we always joke that Brittany was like a second daughter. Like my mom had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And then Brittany's like another one of her kids. Um, so Brittany knows these things pretty acutely that I'm saying, but my mom had bipolar disorder. She was
Mhm.
diagnosed with it from a very young age, but she was very well treated like most of her adult life. Like we had challenges from it, most definitely. But there was kind of a breakdown in her care 3 years before she passed away, in which they changed her medications and she had a mental breakdown. She had like a serious mental health emergency where she had to go to the hospital. And we were so focused on her mental health that I think we ignored the signs of colon cancer that were like cropping up, right? So from about 2014, when I was 26, 27, through the time she passed away, it was all like caregiving to the family, like trying to coordinate care, like doing all of these, like you're an adult, but you're doing like these extra adult things that like you
Mhm.
that's not the relationship you want to have with your parents, right? Like caregiving, you want to be those besties, you want to just go do all the fun things, and that was just all gone like as soon as she had that mental break. So it was really rough, right? And then she got cancer, and
Mhm.
I think she died about a year and a half after she was diagnosed, probably. So it was like quite a bit longer than your mom, but it was a real rough road. Chemo was very tough. Like, I don't know what your
Mhm.
mom's experience was like with chemo, but we always
Awful.
said yeah, not even close to coily. Like, the treatment almost kills people, It's
Yes.
so rough. It's
Mhm.
really rough. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. So what would you say though, Michelle, like to go back, like you were just before 21, like what's it been like to navigate, again, I'm going to call it young adult life, and now we're in our 30s. We're still
Mhm.
young, but like we're in our
So
30s.
young. So
So
young.
young, super youthful.
Mhm.
What's it like to navigate for you, like losing a mom in your early 20s and navigating life without that motherly figure? Like how would you characterize that experience for you?
Definitely stages. Like it's not been the same the whole time. So, like I said, I think it's been 17 years. And I feel like the first, oh gosh, 10 were absolutely crippling. Like I didn't talk about it. I didn't say anything about it. Like my best friend, Amanda, who you know from Pizza Hut,
Yeah.
was like the main advocate for me. Like she was like, I'm here if you need me. I'm here whatever you want. She would like do things in memory of my mom. And she's like, you almost pretended like it didn't happen. And I'm like,
Mm,
I think because I was so focused on my dad and making sure he was okay, I didn't take that time to process for myself.
mm.
And I think once I did, that's when like the healing actually started.
Oh, yeah.
And I do feel like I mean, I'm lucky I've had enough time to process this, but um I think one of the hardest things I've been through as an adult without a mom is, wedding, shopping and wedding,
Yeah.
planning your wedding. You go to everything and people are like, where's your mom? You go try on wedding dresses. Oh, is your mom joining us today? I'm like, no, she's not, and like I would go into like this like the wedding dress fitting room and just sob, because I'm like, these people
Yeah.
have like, they're well meaning, but they don't understand kind of the weight behind the question they're asking. So
Right.
I think that's been
Yeah.
the hardest thing. But I think, now that I'm like on my healing journey, looking at other people and younger people who have gone through this and figuring out how I can make it less painful for them is
Yeah.
kind of, my motivation to really keep speaking about this and do more work surrounding it.
That's so awesome. Now, you talked about your support system, right? So, like Amanda, your best friend. Yes,
Yeah.
shout out Amanda. I do remember you, and you guys are super cute besties. Brittany, my best friend. I remember like when I posted the obituary that my mom had passed, like the day, like I had the honor of writing her obituary because like I have a journalism background and writing is my thing, right? So I was able to write her obituary, which was very cathartic. I remember posting it on Facebook, and Brittany, I don't know if you remember what your comment was, but you were just like, we'll get you you said something nice about my mom, and then you're like, we're gonna get you through this. And it's just like that simple statement from your best friend that even
Hmm.
though it doesn't have like detail or whatever, it's just like, yep, you know. And your husband too, like, I have a husband, my husband's like, we're gonna get through, we're gonna get through this. Your mom was amazing, whatever. But um, Brittany, I'm wondering if you can share like from the friend perspective, like what's it like for you as like the bestie of someone? Like what does it feel like to you in terms of the weight or what you want to do as that person for the person who has lost?
Um, this sounds probably bad. I feel like a lot of people overthink it. Like
Mm,
they think, I feel like people revert to like the Hallmark bullshit, 'tis the season, or just like the movie thing of like, we're gonna give this grand speech and it's gonna be fine. And then I'm like, no, that's not,
yeah.
that unfortunately, like words aren't words are not going to make it better. I mean, again, you can say like, I'm here for you or do simple things, but you know, at the end of the day, you realize like nothing you as the support person is going to say is going to magically bring the person back, wave the wand, undo it all. We're all going to wake up, Jumanji, whoop-de-doo, like, never mind. So I think, you know, for me, when people are dealing with stuff, it just comes down to just knowing, making sure they know you're there.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe, I don't know if this can be something we get into later, but I think, too, I feel like from what I've seen, regardless of the grief process is similar, regardless of maybe the manner in which you lose somebody or whether it was like sudden and unexpected, like say an auto accident or something like very sudden, or whether it's coming from an illness where yes, it's still going fast, but you know, it's coming. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
you have
there's going to be an
time.
end date, to it. It still looks
Mhm.
the same. It's not linear. The grief process is not linear. Obviously the days, weeks, months, years right after it are tough, but then you start to see people, you know, maybe they'll quote unquote appear more normal, maybe, or they'll work through stuff, but then there'll be things all of a sudden, you know, it'll be a song, or it'll be
Mm.
seeing something, or it'll be the smell of a food, or it's like something that triggers it all of a sudden, and then they go back in, or like, you know, it sets something off, it kind of brings up that trauma. So having, just making sure that the person knows that you're there, that you allow them to feel however they're going to feel. So I think a lot of times I find it, and maybe you can tell me, maybe I'm way off, but allowing the person to just be in the moment of whatever that looks like, where maybe you don't have to say anything and you just kind of sit there and listen. You know, if they're screaming or having an outburst, like just let them get it out. Like just let them do it. Meet them where they're at and just kind of get through that moment, let them express it. Um, you know, again, don't try to regulate to like, oh, just calm down. And I'm like, no,
Yeah. Don't correct feelings is a big
no,
message here,
exactly.
right?
Like
Like
let
don't
them
ever
just get it
correct
out in the
someone's
moment,
feelings.
you know, and whether again, whether that is soon after something has happened or
Yeah.
5 years down the road, like
Yeah.
just like meet them where they're at. So again, I think that leads to, again, you know, no words are really going to fix the situation, but just try to be that calming, stable presence in a time that feels really unstable.
Yeah, you're good at that. If you can't tell, Michelle Brittany's a no bullshit kind of person. So like she's not gonna be like, hey, everything's fine. She's like more like, no, this sucks. Like this is actually really super awful. And I'm not gonna lie
I
to you
love
about it,
that.
you
And
know?
I'm not that person, so I need those kinds of people in my life to be like, look, like it seems like you guys are such a complimentary pair of best friends. I love that.
Oh, are we? Oh, we might be. We might be. We don't know for sure. Yeah, she sips her mug to like take the smirk off of her face. She's also not a hugger. She detests hugs. But the biggest,
For a
best hug
reason.
I
Like if
ever
there's a
got
reason.
from you, the best hug I ever got from you was when you came into Erickson Funeral Home in Argyle the day of the wake, and you gave me the biggest, most clenchy hug I have ever gotten from you in my life. And I was
There's a
like,
reason.
hey,
I wasn't gonna walk in and be like, talk to the hand, bitch. Like, no, of course. Like, there has to be a reason. Your dog got hit in the road. Somebody died. Happiness, you got promoted. You're leaving a terrible workplace. I don't know. Like,
you have to have a reason for a good clenching hug.
yeah.
And she gave me the best one she ever gave me, like
I
on
bet.
December 12th, 2017 or whatever it was, right? There you go. See, I can rattle off dates like that. Um, no, I think that's so true. Like what Brittany and I joke and we slash not joke about how we detest toxic positivity. Like the whole like, no, but like see the bright side, right? Like, no, but like whatever, right?
That's
It's the
me.
worst. It's
I'm
okay
your
though if it's
worst
someone
enemy
who's
then, because
coming to
that's
it
me.
from experience though, but it's like the people who don't understand the experience who are like, if you say it to me, Michelle, I know we've
Mhm.
had a similar experience and that to me
Sure.
is okay. You know what I mean? But it's like the people who've
Mhm.
never experienced anything like it and they're just like, oh no, just it's okay. Like don't, don't worry about it. Like you'll be
Yeah, those people I
okay.
want to punch in the face.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it. You get it.
That goes into the support thing too. Like when I hear it makes me like visibly just like short circuit seizure. which, you know, just hearing like a religious ceremony, you hear it like other places where I think, again, it's like people being like, well, I just gotta say something and make it better. And so they'll be like, well, it was God's will, or like, it was their time. And I'm like, oh, fuck off with that. Like,
Oh yeah,
fuck the
that is
entire way
so
off
bad.
with that shit. So again, it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
don't just say that. Don't say that. Just
Just say
Right.
nothing.
be
Yeah,
quiet.
just keep it, if
Yeah.
that's your
Just
belief, that's cool, but don't like me
doesn't, again, it
processing through
doesn't
it,
fix
don't
the
need to hear it.
situation. That doesn't suddenly make somebody stop grieving. Be like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're right. Jesus wanted him as a roommate. That's fine. No, fuck off. Like,
We're going
God
to that
damn it.
complementary pair argument, Michelle, which you're picking up on, right? She brings the
Yes.
spice to the snarking lot in every needed moment. For crying out loud. You're so spicy, Brittany. You're so snarky. Um, so tell us about Empower. Like, I am so intrigued by this organization. I found it because of you. I want to donate to it, like because of you. I probably will. If you're still accepting donations under your behalf, I will do that, like in your honor and your mom's honor, 100%. But tell us how you stumbled upon that and like what your relationship is like with them and what that purpose of that org is.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with trying to get into the New York City Marathon. That's impossible. I don't know if anybody thinks you can just sign up for it. I did. I was like, you can just sign up. Nope, that's false. So you either have to qualify, which I am very slow. I'm not going to qualify. You have to like live in the New York City area and run 9 races and volunteer at one. I live in Wisconsin, can't do it. Um, or you have to have a charity pick you up. And I was like, oh, I have this great story. A charity will surely pick me up. I've raised money. Like, so during COVID in 2020, I ran a half marathon and that I organized myself in Waukesha. And I ran it with my friends. I raised $3,300 for the cancer center that treated my mom.
Oh, wow,
And
that's awesome.
I was only trying to raise like 500, right? So, it's COVID. I feel like people are just like wanting to give. I was like, it's such a dark time. And it's been 13 years without my mom. I'll run 13 miles, raise
Oh,
500 bucks. Yeah, raise $3,300. I was like one of the top individual contributors to this cancer center for the year. And I was like, okay, my story is fantastic. Like, nobody's gonna say no to me. About 49 charities either didn't reply or said you'll be on the wait list. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why is this so hard to get into? So my girlfriend who was running the marathon with Girls on the Run was like, no, there's gonna be a charity for you. We're gonna find one. So she started looking through the list of different charities that had been participating in prior years. And she's like, there's one called Empower. And I looked them up and I read their mission statement and I bawled. I was like, are you kidding me? They're a nonprofit that does one of two things. So they either set up a mentorship with children who have had a parental loss with an older adult who's also had a parental loss. So you're not going through those big, monumental life moments alone. Or they do big events on Mother's Days and Father's Days for children who have lost family or like lost parents. So
wow.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is right up my alley. This speaks to my heart. So I applied and I got an email back and they're like, yeah, we would love to do a Zoom interview with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So I had to have a Zoom interview. I talked about like my story, my past fundraising, my mom, like everything I've been through. And then they offered me the first bib on their team out of 5 bibs. So they only had 5 bibs to give away. They gave me one of them, which I'm so grateful for. And I remember, I had an interview with the vice president and she's like, how are you gonna fundraise? And I was like, oh, I mean, it's just me. I'm just gonna like, I have such a big like crowd surrounding me that I like don't even like, I'm not even second guessing like how I'll fundraise. Like, there
Sure.
was so much love and support for my mom and me that I was like, oh, this is like $4,000. I can do that, and I ended up raising $11,450 for the
Wow.
charity. which is like
Michelle,
almost triple what they asked me to raise.
that's amazing. That is
Thanks.
amazing. Okay, congratulations, number one, on the fundraising, but also, okay, Brittany was smirking when you're like, I don't know if you know this, but like you can't just get into the marathon. Brittany's like a runner. Like she
Oh,
knows and does all the things and desires
amazing.
to do all of the things. Yes. So she was like, oh, we're gonna have someone on that's on charity running. Awesome. So we have to take a quick diversion into what the experience of actually running a full marathon was like. So are you like a runner by nature? Did you do cross country in high school? Like what's been your like relationship with running? And then what was it like to run the 26.2?
So my mom was really big into exercise. So when
Yeah.
she passed, I was like, I'm gonna get big into exercise. She wasn't a runner, but she like worked out every day. So I was like, I'm gonna take this like personal time for me, and this is gonna be my time to like connect with my mom, is when I go on runs. And so I started running, and then I think the longest I had run was like 6 miles. And then in 2018, one of my friends was like, you should sign up for the Lakefront Marathon. And I was like, okay. So I did with 11 weeks to train, which is not enough time, but I did really good. And I was like, that was not hard. And so I thought, 6 years later, my body can totally do another marathon. Turns out, the difference between running a marathon at 32 and 38 is very different. And my old bag of bones, she held up, but it was pretty painful. I was in physical therapy every week. But you're running, two pretty decent long runs a week. So you're doing like a 3 miler and a 5 miler, and then every weekend you have to run double digits in miles. So
Mhm.
the training, I think, is what's hard. Like race day is what's fun, except for like, I feel like mile 1 through 20. What is it? There's a saying that they say mile 1 through 20 is one race, and mile 20 through 26.2, totally different race. And
Yeah,
I attest
so
to that
true.
because after mile 20, it wasn't fun anymore. You just kind of shuffle to the finish line.
Did I see you like in one of your TikToks, which were delightful, as we mentioned, by the way, but did I see you like limping down subway steps in New York, like after you were done? Like you were like taking it real tenderly down the steps, and I'm like, oh, it's gotta be so painful. I can't even imagine. There's like
Yeah.
no way for me to imagine.
Oh, three days after the marathon, my legs were not really in working condition. So I had to grasp for dear life onto the New York City subway handrails, which is absolutely disgusting. I was
Yeah,
applying
it's gross.
hand sanitizer like there was no end. But yeah, your legs don't work for a couple days afterwards.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, and so you really documented your journey with this, right? Like, so it was both kind of like it felt like it was race preparation, laced with humor, laced with like I'm doing this and raising money for this cause in honor of my mom. Like it was a great like combination of all the things. You joked as when we were getting ready to come on here about people having some pretty serious opinions about your bagels. Do you want to
Mhm.
like tell us more about that? Because that's bizarre and hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it would be really funny to just document my TikTok journey really for myself. Like, I was like, I'll post this on, Instagram, Facebook, but if nobody watches it, I don't really care because it's really, memories for me of like what marathon training is truly like. And at the beginning of most videos, I would post my bagel that I've toasted because you have to generally eat like a lot of carbs before you go running. And apparently, I was toasting my bagels far too much because people had things to say and they came for me. I'm toasting my bagels way too dark. Apparently, you need to like only lightly toast your bagels. I would get text messages with pictures of lightly toasted bagels saying this is the proper way to toast a bagel. So, the things that people care about are very different than what I thought would actually
That's
care about.
hysterical. Like, did I see you put pickles on one? Did I see
Oh,
one with like cream cheese and like chopped up pickles on top? Was that real?
tahini and pickles. Oh, Try it.
Really?
It will change your
Oh,
life.
okay.
But if you don't toast your bagel enough, the tahini makes it soggy. So
So
you
that
have to toast it a
hence
bit more.
did you retort with people that I'm toasting them more because I don't want it to get soggy? Like there's
I've
legitimate
told them
reasons,
this,
people.
yes. And nobody
Come
cares.
on. Nobody cares.
No.
Okay, so people can still contribute to Empower? Like, are you still running is this like a under Michelle, like people can contribute like through you and like your campaign, or is your campaign done because you're done with the marathon? How does this work?
No, people have still contributed after my
Okay,
races ended. So I can send you over the link. It's like a Cosbox link,
okay.
but people can still contribute. Yeah.
We'll promote the crud out of that when it's
Oh,
time to get this on social media. So that'll be fun. That'll be really fun. So what were you thinking, like in terms of, and maybe this sounds cheesy, maybe not, I don't care. But like as you're running, how are you feeling about your mom? Like, because I told you like your one video TikTok got me weepy when you're like you're putting your sticker up like on a wall that you're like I did this in honor of my mama, right? And I'm like just gonna start breaking down in the middle of the day when I see this. That's cool. Um, so how much do you think your mother's influence was with you while you were
oh,
doing this endeavor?
1,000%. I would not have done this had I not had the inspiration for helping other people because of my loss. Like she was with me the whole time, and especially mile one. So when you're running the New York City Marathon, most of the time you're surrounded by like 1,000 people. But at mile one, you're on a bridge all by yourself. So it's just like you and your thoughts. And I feel like that's when I felt her the most.
Amazing.
Did I do something funny? Sorry, I saw you guys were laughing.
No, you're just like Brittany's giggling because she's like, yeah, like she knows what marathons and half marathons are
I know
like.
what the
I
course
don't.
is. I haven't run it, but I know what the course is like. So I was like, which bridge is it going to be?
Which
Oh,
bridge?
Verrazano, the
Yep,
Verrazano Bridge.
Oh my gosh. That's
Which,
so
okay,
crazy.
question for you, Brittany. Would you ever think about running the New York
Oh yeah.
City?
Oh yeah, I want to do all the majors, but like I'm gonna have to do charity. I told Cassie, I said I'll have to do charity as well. I'm never gonna unless they get things figured out or they keep upping the like the age qualifications. Like maybe at 99 I'll qualify, but yeah, my kind of tongue-in-cheek joke has been like, well, it's gonna be something probably for cancer or pets because nobody says no to either one of those. Like it's gonna be
There you go.
something. I'll find one of them, but yeah, no, I'd like to absolutely um do it, and that is a challenging one, so kudos to you for like of all the ones you're gonna pick to do too, like
Yeah, that
it's
is.
a tough one. That's a lot of mental acuity to have to do that, so
Thank you. Yeah, and the
maybe
people running it are so fast, and I am not fast. So I'm like, all I
there's
want to do
people
is
all the
running.
way through to like the night, like they're sweeping the streets and closing,
Yeah.
Yeah, for
like they move
sure.
people over the sidewalk eventually, like I mean there's people out there for hours, like six,
Yeah.
7, 8 hours doing it
And
or
what was
more.
your time? Remind us your time because I looked at it and I'm like, that's actually really good.
Oh, thank you. 4:47.
Yeah, 4:47. Brittany, right? I know. I saw it. I was like, 4:47. Come on. It's amazing. That's
Thank you.
amazing. So as we conclude this section, this was amazing. Um, this is just me. I love talking about my mom and my grandma, who both of whom I miss dearly. So like I lost my mom in December 2017, and then my grandma, her mom, who I was also super close with, I lost in July of 2018. So a few months apart. I love telling stories about them. Funny stories, heartfelt stories, whatever. But is there anything else you'd like to share as we go into our final section where we do a little bit more joking that you would like people to know or remember about your mom?
I think just be kind. Like if you see someone having a bad day, just like take a minute and be kind to other people. Like on the day that my mom passed, which is August 6th, I go out every year and I just do random acts of kindness for people. And just seeing people like who might have been having a bad day get turned around is such a blessing to me because it's such a hard day. I mean, I know you know, Cassie, like that day is just awful. So you can take kind of the hand you're given and either make the best of it or not. And so I just really try to like use my life experience to be a better person and help other people in better ways.
That's awesome. That's interesting you say that. When I eulogize my mom, um, how I concluded it was, a version of just like do those acts of kindness, like, or think that every time you're holding a door for a stranger or you're, sending a handwritten card. My mom was notorious for sending like everyone, handwritten snail mail and like all of that, right? Like every time you do that, you please think about my mom, right? Like that would be something she would love that you're doing. So it's like those simple things. So that's beautiful. And I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything you would do to encourage people to honor people's memory or make meaningful impacts? Like, maybe for like people like me who are never going to be able to put their legs in front of them and do a full marathon. Like maybe not things as crazy as that, but like what would you give for suggestions if someone's like, I really want to do something to like honor a memory? Like what would you give them as advice?
I mean, there's so many opportunities today to volunteer or participate in community events. So if you're not like, physically able to do something, one year for Christmas, instead of doing gifts in honor of my mom, I sponsored two children. Um, and I went shopping. My mom was a huge shopper. So I went shopping and I just purchased literally every single thing I could for these two children and made their Christmas. So it's like it's just more about the act of giving, I think, than it is about anything else.
Yeah.
So just giving with your heart. Yeah.
With your heart. That's a great message as we get closer to Thanksgiving and the holiday season here. So thanks for that. That's awesome. All right. Now we do our traditional round robin in the last third of the show. We do the same three things every time. So Brittany, I'm flipping them around this time. Do you want to start us off with what the, excuse our language, dumbest shit you've seen in the news or the craziest shit you've seen in the news or just anything that caught your eye, big, small, or otherwise? You're always so snarky. What you got for us today?
Oh, there's so much. Actually,
So
somebody
much.
today sent me a TikTok. Um, it was at Mar-a-Lago, but it looked very religious. Like just a very, and they were all like choir version Madonna's Like a Prayer. And I was like, do they not know the lyrics? So I like that in general. Like pick a group, like when people
Yeah.
like just the irony of when people sing things or do things, and I'm like, do you not do you not know like 4th of July when people are like, Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA, and I'm like, oh, went right over your head the meaning of it. So I love that when people yeah, I'm gonna say that people
Nice.
literary just comprehension. So
Literary
yeah, that one made me
comprehension.
chuckle. I was like, that's what I needed on this Tuesday.
All right, well, this is going to be quick for me. I have to admit, I have been purposefully avoiding most news in the last 2 weeks. So getting a little perusing here and there, headlines that I see when I'm scrolling through social. But as Brittany knows, I've been limiting my social intake and paired with that, limiting my news intake. So I have seen very little other than putting up Christmas decorations in my house, doing all of the things. So I'm detaching from reality. How about you, Michelle? Is there any headlines that have caught your eye? Anything you'd like to share?
Well, Cassie, you were taking the right angle at all of this. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm getting way too much social media. Apparently, there's been some person from Road Rules or Real World appointed to the cabinet. Something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Dr. Oz. Also, Dr. Oz is going to be the
Also Dr. Oz
some like Medicaid over Medicare.
and Medicaid, yeah.
So I really have to stop watching the news.
Yeah, just friendly suggestion. Do what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Give it a whirl. Even just lowering the intake, even if you can't completely remove it, lowering it, good for the soul, right?
Mhm.
Very good.
Yes.
All right. Well, Brittany, what are you reading? You've always got a good
Lean into
swath
it.
of
Yeah.
books in the hopper. Yeah.
I'm nearly done with the book about Flint. And
Oh
gotta
yeah.
say, yeah,
Flint Water Crisis. Nice.
yeah, people are pretty terrible.
Nice
People in
little
power are
light
pretty
reading.
terrible. Just
She's really
yeah,
into light
nice
reading.
little light reading as I like drank a glass of water and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, people are pretty terrible. Speaking of the
Cool.
swamp, just one right to the other. Just you don't really drain it. You just pick from a different pool. It's all still the
Hey.
same.
Hey.
So yeah, enraged, but
Cool.
just probably blood pressure is probably pretty good. Stress test, I'd probably ace it
Sweet. Good
as
on
you
you.
per use.
The two
So
books I mentioned last time are still sitting there waiting for me. The one on the flooding in rural communities, impact of flooding in rural communities, I'm excited about. Again, that I came across while I was on a little work excursion. So I'm excited about that, but haven't read it yet because, like I mentioned, I like to think I want to read, but then by the time I'm going to read at night after work, I'm way too tired and I just fall straight to sleep. So it's like I hope to do that and then never do. Michelle, do you read?
No, not really, but I do remember I was reading this book, which I did not finish before I ran my marathon, and it's called How to Make Yourself Poop and 999 Other Tips All Runners Should Know.
Nice. That's
So I got
lovely.
about halfway through it and I was like, yeah, I got this.
I'm good. Got it down pat. Great. I love that. That's a good one. I need to add that to my repertoire. Brittany, do you have that one? Or have you read it?
I don't think I have. I've definitely read it. So
You
I feel
definitely
like
read it.
maybe
Okay.
at one point. I
I
don't.
feel like you have. All right. And then the last thing we always ask is what's like the goal you've got going on in your life, big, small, or otherwise? I mean, we go everything from just like I want to drink more water all the way to I want to save the world. So like anything in that spectrum is acceptable to share. Brittany, how about you?
Mm, well, let me go on the lighter end. More electrolytes between now and next
That's
time.
good.
We're going tame. We're going tame.
More electrolytes. Do
Yeah,
you
more
do liquid
electrolytes.
IV? Do you do any liquid IV in your
I have
water?
done it. I gotta dilute the hell out of it because I feel like I drink it and I'm like, whoa, sugar. But no, it is tasty. And it's yes, I can drink, I can down that noon. I
Okay.
just found called Cure I really like.
Friendly suggestion. Do
Or
that.
just add salt. If you
The
add
what?
salt, not like table salt, but if you add like sea salt to your
Really?
regular water. So I filter mine and that's basically, yeah, I'm taking out all the stuff. But yeah,
Huh,
like salt or and some of the other ones have
good for you.
electrolytes. Just
There you
that.
go. There you go. Do sugar-free liquid IV. White peach is very good in the
I've
sugar-free
had that one. That
option.
is very good.
Yeah, there you go. So, Michelle, what have you got? You got any goals in mind? I mean, you just ran a marathon, so what are you doing next? Running like 100 miler or something?
Yeah, totally. I mean, big goals. Wow, that's really hard. I just got asked to be someone's mentor at work today, which I've never been a mentor before, and I thought that was like
Hmm.
really amazing. I was kind of shocked. I'm sure my eyes like dropped out of my head. So I think my goal is just to figure out how to be a good mentor and like how to
Yeah,
guide this person at work and help them kind of shape their career in the best way possible.
that's lovely.
Nice.
We love positive work stories around here. That's something we strive for.
Think about
Yeah,
what you would have wanted somebody to do for you and then do that.
and then
Yeah,
do that.
I told her I've asked 3 people to be my mentor while at my company, and all of them have left within a month of me asking. So I was like, I promise I'll still be here in a month. I won't leave
Will
you.
not leave
So.
you.
Mhm.
Will not leave you. I love that. I love that. Well, Brittany, you know I live close to a state bike trail. So in the next few weeks before it really starts to seriously snow, I am going to get back out there and do at least a little jogging because I do enjoy running, but I am very out of shape. It has been months and months and months since I've really done anything that resembles serious exercise. So it has to be done. Got to get those Brooks runners on and get out there, do the thing. So that's my goal.
Very
Drink
good.
water, go running. Drink water, go
There you
running.
go. A mobile house
That
plant. I like it. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. What is that saying? It's like we're houseplants with complicated emotions or something like that. Have you
Yeah.
seen that meme on
Yeah.
social media? It's so true. It's so true. All right. Well, this was amazing. So much fun. Thank you for coming on this. You were like the perfect guest to accomplish this goal. So we are so pumped to have you. And again, um, you know, hi to your closest friends
Thank you.
who I feel
I
like are
love
going to
them.
be our biggest champions, right?
Definitely.
That
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. All right. So
Thank
Brittany
you for
always
having
ends.
me.
Oh, this is great. And I think we should like meet up in person sometime. You're close to Brittany.
Yeah.
I go down there, we meet up. I think that's the next logical thing to do. Like see
I mean,
each other in
Brittany,
real life.
I might be outside your house right now just looking in your windows. It's not
Well,
It's
my
weird.
fine.
path's not far away. We go for a run.
It's fine. Just run there.
Waukesha.
Yeah.
Just run to
Yeah.
Waukesha. You two are crazy. Like, you're cool, but you're crazy. Okay? Both of you for different reasons. All right, Brittany always ends us with can you give us your ever classic sign off, please?
Always bring your logic to a dumb fight.
That's amazing. All right. Bye.
Bye.